everybody, it's Dana with Engadget. I'm here with Microsoft's new Surface 2 tablet, which is going on sale this week. I'm here to give you a quick walkthrough of both the hardware and the software. So if you're familiar with the original Surface, you can see this is not a radical departure from the original model. Like the original, it's made of magnesium alloy, only this time it's available in a silvery color. It's also noticeably thinner and lighter than the original, and that's not something you're really going to appreciate watching me handle the tablet on camera, but this is much lighter, especially, not just thinner, but especially lighter than I remember the original being. So that's really convenient for anyone. Lighter is always better. Don't count on the tablet getting too much thinner in subsequent generations. We actually spoke to Microsoft recently and found out that because that full-size USB port is such a priority and is so integral to the product identity, it's going to be sticking around. So there's always going to be a USB port on the Surface, and you can only make the Surface as thin as the USB port is thick, really. Other differences, both Surface tablets, the Surface 2 that we're talking about here and also the Surface Pro 2, are made of 2 pieces of magnesium instead of 3, but that's not really obvious at first glance. Like any other Surface tablet, this has a kickstand that's really, just like the USB port, it's really integral to the product design. And like always, it comes out at that angle here, but it's also a 2-stage kickstand now. So not only can you bring it out that far, you can extend it even further. It makes it really convenient for holding in the lap here. It's a lot more stable than it would be if I held it like this, and the viewing angle's better. So now it's very upright. I kind of have to look down at it like that. When I put it here, it's a little more, the screen's facing up a little bit more, which is more pleasant when I'm typing with the thing in my lap, basically. And also, you'll see here that there's a blunt metal edge along the bottom of the kickstand. It digs into my legs less at this angle than it would here. So that also makes it just much more comfortable to use in the lap. The other major thing that's changed about the Surface since the original is the display. So originally, this had a 1366 by 768 display. Now it's moved up to 1080p. In fact, this is the same exact display you'll find on the Surface Pro 2. Same resolution, it's the same clear type display, IPS, optically bonded, which means there's minimal space between the touchscreen and the glass, so you should get some pretty good viewing angles here. It's definitely, the viewing angles are top-notch indoors. Even outside here, if I were to rest the tablet on my lap like this, I could still read it just fine. And I was taking pictures in direct sunlight earlier. That worked fine also. The main difference, of course, between this and the Surface Pro 2 is that this does not support pen input and the Surface Pro does. So consider that when you're choosing between the two. Keep in mind that this costs around $450 and the other one starts around $900. So consider how much you want a laptop grade processor and that pen input. So as always, the fact that this is a Surface and not a Surface Pro means that it runs Windows RT instead of full Windows 8.1, excuse me, not Windows 8, Windows 8.1. So this is Windows 8.1 RT, and as always, that means it won't run legacy x86 apps. It's basically just apps from the Windows Store. Still, that said, this brings a lot of the same features that you would have found on the full version of Windows 8.1, namely a lot of the built-in apps. So if we go here, you'll see that there's a new alarms app, for instance. So here, I want to set an alarm. I want to have it go off just on Mondays. I can set the day there. I can set the time here. I want it to go off at 5:15 a.m. Some other new apps here. You've got a calculator. It's kind of hard to believe that Windows didn't have a calculator before, but now it does, and it's pretty slick. There's just the regular calculator. There's a scientific one, should you need that, and a converter for all sorts of measurements. Some other new apps. You've got food and drink. You've got health and fitness. You've got reading list, which is very similar to Read It Later. You just want to flag websites, and if there's anything on the web that you meant to read and didn't have time to read, you can find it there, and that'll be your repository, basically. So given that this is an upgrade coming out about a year after the original Surface, you have to imagine that the internals have been upgraded as well. So this year we're stepping up to a Tegra 4 chip instead of a Tegra 3 chip. Performance is a little bit smoother, and I think that's not just a hardware thing. I think it's also a software thing. I think the software has been optimized quite a bit so that anyone who complained about Windows RT the first time around might find that it's actually pretty smooth and quick this time around. Battery life, too, is supposed to be better this time around. It's rated at up to 10 hours of video playback, which is definitely an improvement over the last time. Storage-wise, you're looking at upwards of 32 gigabytes of solid-state storage. On the bottom, you've got your magnetic connectors here, which, of course, you want to use with either the new Type Cover 2 keyboard, which costs $130, or the new Touch Cover keyboard, which costs $120. They're both pretty similar to what came out last year. They look the same, they perform about the same, but they are backlit this time, which is nice if you ever find yourself working in a dimly lit library, or maybe you're on a long haul flight. As always, it guides itself in really easily. It makes a really satisfying snap, and it's very sturdy, so I can hang it upside down like this and nothing bad happens to it. And I didn't even have to work to guide it in. I could just let it snap inside. I find that the charging connector is a little bit sturdier than it was last time. It can be a little bit of a pain sometimes to guide the power charger, the power cord, into that little slot there, but it is sturdy and it does work well. So that's been our quick look at the Surface 2. It's on sale this week for around $450, starting with 32 gigabytes of solid state storage.